everyone, I'm Shruti Tripathi, an image consultant and a career coach. Welcome to my channel. In my last video, we had spoken about employability skills and topic was problem solving. Today, we are going to speak on critical thinking. But before I move on to critical thinking, let's talk about what thinking is all about or what is thinking. Now, if I look at it, I feel that it's like a seed which just grows into a tree. In a similar way, a thought comes to our mind and it just grows with the help of our understanding, our knowledge, our conditioning, our values, our beliefs, and whatever we know about that particular aspect. We connect the dots and we make a pattern and it grows into a proper channel. Now, technically speaking, it is a semantic chain of connections. Now, why I'm saying that it's a synaptic connection or a chain or it's a process? Because, as I said, it is linked with our understanding, our knowledge, our perception, and our attitude. Now, if I have to look at it from the perspective of an example, okay, let's try one. As per the scientific study, average human being has 3,000 thoughts per hour or around 60,000 to 80,000 thoughts per day. But do you think that we are capable of pursuing so many thoughts at the same time? Only very few thoughts reach the level of relevance on a particular day. Now, what happens is that each human being has a different thinking pattern and we have different viewpoints and opinions and ideas. Now, let's take an example to understand it in a better manner. Now, suppose there are two individuals who are going to purchase one painting. Now, there is only one painting and there are two individuals. Now, look at the thought process of the first individual. Now, this person who's looking at the painting is thinking, oh, this is such a beautiful painting. It will really look good in my drawing room. I have been looking for such a painting for such a long time. My entire interior decor goes with this particular painting. The sofa colors are matching, the wall colors are matching, and it's a perfect piece for that particular wall. Let me buy it. Now, there is another individual who's looking at the painting at the same time. Let's see what he's thinking. He's thinking about the painting that, oh, this is a beautiful masterpiece. Artist has really put in his heart and soul in this painting. This painting goes with my ideology. It has the same kind of perception what I believe in. This really resonates well with my idea of art. Let me buy this painting. Now, if you look at this example clearly, you can see there are two different ways of thinking altogether. One person is trying to align her interest, her passion for interior designing, the look of her drawing room, and she is looking at that painting from an art's perspective, but more so that it blends well with the surroundings of her house. The second individual is taking it in a more personal manner and aligning it more with his ideology and what he perceives art as, and it gels with his perception. Therefore, they both make the purchase, but with a different ideology and a different thinking pattern. Now, this is what I'm trying to convey, that we as human beings have a capability of thinking in diverse ways, in diverse manners, and eventually our goals may be same, but to reach that goal, we may take different routes. Now, let's talk about critical thinking, as I mentioned earlier in my video. Now, critical thinking is another dimension of thinking only, but it involves, or it includes rather, I would say, certain important elements. Now, what are these elements? The first thing is reasoning. Second is evaluation. Third is problem solving. Fourth is analyzing, and fifth is decision making. Now, if I talk about the broader aspects or broader elements of critical thinking, these are the five basic elements we are talking about. Now, let's take them one by one. Now, reasoning, as I said, is the first element, but before we come to that, it is very, very important to identify that particular thought or the problem we are dealing with. Now, Reasoning is basically rationality, a logical analysis, and to look at things in a practical manner, whether this particular aspect, whatever we are thinking about, is possible or not possible. Now, reasoning, rationality, logical analysis is something which we derive after going through the problem in detail, looking at both the pros and the cons of the particular thought process or an idea or an opinion. Now, a lot of people have a misconception or they misunderstand if somebody uses the word critical thinking as criticism. No, it is not criticism, because criticism is something which is directly aimed at criticizing that person or an individual. Criticism is more emotionally driven. Criticism comes out of personal biases and choices, or rather by some negative influence. So here we should not confuse between criticism as being the same thing as critical thinking. Critical thinking is a very normal methodical process which involves logical rationality and analysis. Now, obviously, it is not only about being reasonable or logical or rational, because all the time we are not dealing with mathematical or statistical problems only, which can be dealt by looking at the data in detail, doing the statistical analysis or using statistical tools to derive at an inference or a conclusion. But there are a lot of problems which involves human reactions, human responses, empathy, compassion, and humility. And at the same time, we need to derive or come to a conclusion where the judgment or the final conclusion which we are making is appropriate from all elements or sections we are looking at. Now, coming back to our breaking down of the elements, the first thing which I said was it was reasoning or being logical or having a rational analysis of a particular problem. Breaking it down further to smaller pieces. Now, after breaking down that particular idea, opinion, or an argument into different segments, we analyze and evaluate each of these smaller ideas into their whether to go for them in affirmation or we need to segregate it then and there. Now, this entire problem solving is a part of this process, because every time you are looking at an argument with pros and cons and coming out with a logical or a reasonable deduction, we are eliminating it also at the same time the thought which we do not require to hinder the process. Now, after the complete analyzation or rationalization of that entire problem solving, we come to a final judgment, or we infer with whatever raw data is available with us. Now, critical thinking gives you an advantage to go into the minor aspects or even the minutest of the details with whatever data is available with you. Now, critical thinking requires a lot of concentration. Critical thinking does not come very easy to everybody because we are not tuned to think that way. A lot of people have a very vague idea of thinking. A lot of people come to or jump to certain conclusions by their whims and fancies. They bring in their own egos, they bring in their own experiences, and on the basis of that they take a collective decision. But these are not the correct ways to deal with a problem in today's current professional world. And that is why critical thinking is taken as an important skill or something which each individual who's looking at a good professional life, a very fruitful, productive professional life, he needs to inculcate the skill right from his formative years. And it is very, very important to deal with it from the emotional angle as well. It's not only about looking at numbers and data and graphs and coming out with a conclusion. We need to include and appreciate the human elements involved in it. We need to be appreciative about the other person's effort. We need to be appreciative about the team's effort. We need to have the curiosity in us to look for the different options available. We need to have the humility to accept that our argument can fail as well. It should not be taken personally by people that if my opinion or idea is negated by somebody, or if it has not been accepted by somebody, it means that there is some flaw in my thinking process or there is a flaw in my personality. No, it's not that. It is just that maybe your idea does not gel with the larger objective in picture or with the end goal we have in our mind. So you need to be very, very careful while analyzing a particular problem, and you need to take or consider these elements while going through that entire process. It will really help you achieve your objectives and larger goals in life. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. And see you next time with a new topic, and most probably would be doing it on creative thinking this time. So tune on to my channel and take care, stay happy, stay healthy. Bye-bye.